Live, Laugh, Larceny discusses true petty crimes that may be disturbing to some.
Or could be easy listening to all you psychopaths out there.
All stories are based on actual events, but details may vary.
Listener discretion is not advised.
Live,
Laugh.
Larceny. Welcome to Live, Laugh, Larceny, a trigger warning for kleptomaniacs. This is Trevin.
And I'm Amanda. Welcome back, Trevin.
Yes, it feels like so long ago because we had to get all that stuff ready and then took the deepest vacation I've ever had.
Yes. So there have been a couple episodes that have come out while we were on our trip and one after we've gotten back, but we had to record ahead because, as a lot of you know, this podcast takes a lot of Trevin's time with the production of it all.
It really, really does.
So we recorded ahead, but this is our first episode recording after coming back from our trip from Dallas.
Yes.
So before we jump into our dreadful dilemmas, we just kind of wanted to do a brief little recap on that for everyone who was keeping up with our posts on social media and things like that. So before we do any of that, though, Trevin, I just want to say that I am so proud of you.
What?
Because, okay, I've known you for a lot of years, right?
Yes.
And I just feel like you have really just blossomed as a human being.
I am a beautiful butterfly.
You are coming out of that cocoon and you are showing us all of your colorful wings, okay?
Okay.
So you not only just acted totally chill about going on this trip, which I know maybe you weren't inside, but from everything I saw, you seemed very cool, very calm, very confident about this trip as a whole. Mm-hmm. And also our public speaking panel that we did, I didn't know like people can be good at talking with their friends or talking on the show or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's different when you're like in front of a group doing a live thing. And you freaking killed it, man.
Well, thank you. I was nervous about it, but there's just something about how much I believe in this show that I kind of have to just swallow it down. And if it comes down to me making or breaking it, I won't let it fail.
You won't break it.
Yeah.
You break it, you buy it.
Yeah, like everything else I'm feeling good about. If I wasn't sure about everything else around what we were doing, I would probably be more hesitant, but it's just like I will not be the thing that makes this fail.
Yeah, I feel that. But you just did so good. I feel like we met up with a lot of our other podcasters that we've known in the past. It was really good to see some of the familiar faces that we've known. Mm-hmm. We met a couple new podcasters, which was really fun. And, you know, there were a lot of people who came to our booth who I think when they first approached us, they didn't really know what to expect. And I don't know if I even clarified this. I'm talking about the True Crime Podcast Festival in Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
But people, when they approached our booth, we had this spinning wheel that I think was a really good icebreaker because a lot of times people were kind of like, I don't know if I should go over there and talk to them. Who are these weirdos, you know? Mm-hmm. And we were like, want to spin the wheel to see if you're a petty criminal? Yeah. And people would come and they would talk to us. And I think that made it a little easier.
Yeah, it was something interactive, which I thought was fun. We had a wheel where we had good things and bad things. There was like goody two shoes, good tipper, and then we had streaker, public urinator, stuff like that. Yeah. So you could actually land on a nice thing, which
a lot of people did.
Yeah, and in true Live, Laugh, Larceny fashion, being a good person means you're lame.
Right. We're like, oh, you volunteer for the elderly? Wah-wah. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think we did a great job at the festival. I was really proud of our table and our performance. I hope we get the recording of that so we can share it with you all. We'll see.
That would be nice.
And then on top of that, we both went on like a family vacation to Galveston afterwards. And I know I've talked to you and I know about my own trip, obviously, but I think we all had just a really good time and we all saw the ocean and it was just really cool.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I have a problem with traveling most of the time, but I will say that I really enjoyed the ocean, and I really don't like doing vacations that are too touristy. When I was a kid, Branson, Missouri is where we always went.
Oh, me too.
And so everything was always just like, oh, what do you do? Will you go pay to go inside of a building and see framed pictures of something, or go to a weird museum, or go see a show? It just didn't really resonate with me. But we went to this, and it was just kind of a small city, and what do? You just relax and go to the ocean.
Yeah.
And that's something I don't have at home. So
I know.
That was cool.
I know. That's the thing. We don't have the ocean. We don't have a beach. We don't have unlimited like seafood places, really.
Oh, buddy.
So that was the main things I wanted, was play on the beach and eat some good seafood and just hang out with the fam. And I think we achieved that.
We did.
So anything else you want to say about the trip, or did we pretty much cover it?
I think that was mostly it, but
Yeah.
we can go into those dreadful dilemmas.
Yes, Trevin. So tell us, what is your dreadful dilemma this week?
So my dreadful dilemma has to do about that trip. Remember that thing I was just acting nice about?
It was so amazing. Let's talk shit now.
So as you know, and as I don't even know if we've talked about it on the show, you guys flew.
Yes.
You guys flew to Dallas, and then after Dallas, you even flew to Houston and just made the little drive from Houston to Galveston.
Yeah.
You didn't have to sit through it. So, which is great. Good for you. You got kids, I understand.
Yeah. There was no way I was going to drive with two small children that far.
No, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
So we drove, and we are from Missouri. You're from Kansas originally.
Yeah.
Did you ever have to really hit those toll roads in Kansas?
Yeah. They had like the whole K-tag situation and all the tolls. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't really have any experience with toll roads.
Really?
Really?
Well, I guess in Missouri, are there really?
No.
But yes, there are. There are in Kansas, like from Emporia, where I went to college, and Wichita, and all of them, there's toll roads. Yeah.
Okay, so I figured you would know more about them than me. Okay, so like school doesn't teach you about it. When I got my driver's license in Missouri, I wasn't taught about it.
Yeah.
When I was 22, I think, 23, I went to Chicago with some friends.
Oh, I was going to say, have you been to freaking Chicago? That was unlike anything I've ever experienced with a toll situation. Yeah.
So I drew the short straw, so I had to drive us home after Chicago.
Oh my God.
Everybody's like passed out because we had a weekend of partying, and I just blew past all of them because I didn't know what to do. I was like, toll road? What? I'm not a truck. I don't think I have anything to do with this.
Oh my God.
So I brought us home,
Did you get a ticket?
and my friend James, we were driving his car.
Oh no.
He got a like bill in the mail for like $250 or something.
Damn.
So he was nice enough to split it with me at the time because I was younger, didn't have a lot of money then.
Yeah.
But this time I'm sitting here like, toll road, what do I do? And I just get so nervous about it because I was in like a line of cars and nobody was going to the left. So they all must have had the E-Pass or
Right.
K-Pass or whatever. And I'm like, I'll just follow him. So I did skip one and it was in a rented car. So that might come back later.
Oh my God. How did you skip past?
You can either go straight to go through the toll thing or right, which is just like an express lane. And I just followed all
And
the
they
other
don't
cars.
have a little thing that goes down?
Nope.
Oh.
So they must just take a picture of your license plate and do something later on you.
Oh, because all the ones in Kansas, there's like a little thing that goes down.
This one didn't.
Wow.
So I had my Google set to avoid all tolls.
Okay.
So I was driving through a bunch of little podunk towns.
Damn.
And I had to use the toll road once. This was so stupid. I had to do the on-ramp onto the toll road. I go up to the very first toll thing, which is like 20 miles up.
Yeah.
So I pay at the 20-mile one. I'm taking the very next off-ramp right after it. So I give them $5 here. I drive up probably a 5-minute drive, get off, and they say, oh, keep your receipts. We can reimburse you if you're just taking this first one. I'm like, okay, great. I get off, and the guy's like, here's $2.50. So like, I just paid $2.50 to drive 5 minutes up this road.
Wow.
Anyway, all I'm going to say is toll roads, they give me a weird anxiety.
Yeah.
And they're too damn expensive.
Yes.
And they slow your ride down. Even if I was a person with the express pass or whatever, you still have to kind of
Yeah.
slow down, angle your way off to the right and go. Now I get it. Kansas has much better roads than Missouri does. And it's
Yeah.
probably because of that.
Yeah, I'm sure they do great things as far as the construction and everything. And I'm sure there's like very valid, great reasonings for them, but man, they suck.
Yeah.
They just slow you down. You have to pay for them. It's just annoying. But yeah, Orlando in Florida was like that too. Chicago was the worst I had ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like toll, 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 toll. And I was like, wow, I've never seen so many back to back to back to back ones.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas wasn't horrible, but you at least had to, take a couple of them, depending on what way you went. Well, damn it, toll roads.
Yeah.
That sounded so weird. Toll roads. So I also have a dreadful dilemma, and you were a witness to this, and I guarantee you know probably what I'm going to talk about. Mine also happened on the trip. That has to do with money spent.
Oh,
that's annoying.
This was a big one.
So here we are. Night one, we're in Dallas. Parents went on the trip because we turned it into a family thing afterwards, and they're watching my kids. And so I'm like, ooh, mama is out on the town. I'm going to go to this podcast meetup. We were allowed to bring Emily and Jordan with us, which was really cool, kind of like a date night situation, mingling with the other podcasters at this bar and grill. So we get there, and there is this amazing spread of like a nacho taco type bar.
The food was very good.
Good God, was it? And anyone who knows me knows that chips and salsa are my all-time favorite foods, I guess. And so I'm like loading up my plate. I'm getting seconds. I'm doing this and that. We're getting some drinks. I don't know how long it was into the night. Were we there maybe a couple hours, maybe an hour and a half?
Probably, yeah, probably not even 2 hours.
Yeah, and so I'm eating these chips and salsa, talking, laughing, having a ball, when I feel and hear like a loud sound and then something poking the shit out of my cheek and my tongue, depending how I move. Mm-hmm. And I immediately was like, no! Like, I think you even saw my face and was like, what? Because you didn't know I had a permanent retainer.
No, I didn't. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's a really annoying thing. So I have a permanent retainer on just my bottom teeth. I don't have one on the top, but I know people who have them on both. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I'm biting into this chip and kick! Half of my retainer is loose and it's poking the shit out of me. Mm-hmm. Like I could hold it down for like a little bit, but regardless, it was going to move and get me. And I was just devastated. I was like, oh my God, we just got here. What the hell am I going to do? It was late at night. I was tipsy. Like, what's a girl to do?
Right.
Luckily, Jordan, for some reason, thinks to Google urgent care dentistry.
Which I had no idea that there was dental urgent cares.
Me neither. But the lucky part of this whole thing is that we wanted to stop at CVS anyway. It was right next door to a CVS, and it was right on the same direction, the same path back to the hotel.
It was super convenient.
It was really close and on the way. I run in there. They're about to close. I basically had to beg this woman to even let me in. Like, she kind of like cracked the door and I was like, help me, please. She's like, we're about to close. I'm like, my wire, please. She lets me in. I sign a bunch of paperwork. She tells me you have to pay it all up front. I don't know if your insurance is going to reimburse you. It was $460 to get my wire fully removed.
And that's how you start a vacation.
And I just felt so guilty. The whole night I was like, oh, we had this vacation money saved and I just spent it all and blah, blah, blah. But, and a lot of times my husband, sometimes he can comfort me. Most of the time he can't. He's not very good at it. But in this instance, he was like, hey, I spent $400 on tattoos for myself. You at least spent it on something that was needed. Like you wouldn't have been able to speak at your festival without that. And insurance may reimburse us. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And so I was able to let it go and try and be not as guilty about it. But yeah, so that was so dreadful. My God.
Yeah, first night on the trip, bam, urgent care dentistry. So if anyone is out there and they're ever on a trip, or even if you're at home and it happens like at night and you need something done, apparently urgent care dentist places exist. Yeah, it was called Denturgent, I believe.
Yes, it was.
Which sounds like something I wash my clothes with.
But yes, so what a time to be alive and on vacation. So we're going to be doing trivia this week.
I wanna play a game.
Whoa, 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 Trevin. We do not have the rights to say that.
Let's have a fun time.
Yeah. And it is my week to go first.
Awesome.
So I want to talk to you about something that I feel like most women don't want to talk about.
Oh.
Spiders.
Spiders?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I just like them, but they're not a top fear for me. Mosquitoes are way scarier to me than spiders.
So have you ever heard of the Brazilian wandering spider?
It sounds slightly familiar, but I don't know.
So my question is, the Brazilian wandering spider has a venomous bite that can cause what?
Oh.
Is it A, a painful boner that can last for hours? B, any appendage bitten to rot and fall off?
Oh my God.
Or C, a giant blood-filled bubble that can grow to the size of a grapefruit?
Whoo! You would think that the boner one wouldn't be so bad, but the fact that it's painful, my God.
Right.
I'm going to go with B.
And you are incorrect.
I am?
It is, in fact, the bona.
No, it is not.
It is.
No, it is not.
The Brazilian wandering spider, also known as the Phenutria nigraventer.
Wow, the pronunciation was beautifully done, Trevin.
Thanks, I got scared there. It gives you a bite of venom that can raise your blood pressure and also has some other things that are very scientific that can actually cause a painful boner. And sometimes,
Oh my God.
sometimes it can also cause death.
Oh, boner or death?
Death
Which
by
one?
boner.
Death by boner. So do you get a lady boner if you're a woman and bitten by the spider?
You know, I haven't actually seen what it does to women. I think it would still affect your
The blood flow?
blood pressure and all that.
Ooh, that sounds very unpleasant. I feel like it'd be really hard, no pun intended, to take somebody
Womp.
seriously if they came running into the emergency room with like a gigantic boner and they're like, help me, I'm gonna die.
I was reading a thing about hospitals and stuff because I guess it would get into people's like bananas. I don't know, like something about their plants or something. And so people are like, oh, I got bit by a spider and I feel funny. They'd look down and be like, I know what spider it was, you devil.
Wow. So the spiders hide in bananas and it gives boners. There's just way too many penis things going
Yeah.
on. Wow.
You never know what they're going to do.
I did not think that was going to be the answer. I was like, okay, that was clearly the wrong answer, Trevin. Like, nice fucking try.
That's what I was hoping.
Whoa. You got me. You got me good. Okay. I also have some trivia for you.
Okay.
So, as a kid, I loved reading those big, fat Guinness World Record books.
Oh, yeah.
I loved them. I'm sure they still maybe print them to this day, right? I don't
Probably.
know.
Scholastic's probably still sells a ton at
Yeah.
those school fair things.
Yeah, it was like my favorite thing to read. So today, my trivia is about one of those records. I feel like maybe we did one of these a long time ago, or maybe I thought about doing it, but anyway, here we go. What was the heaviest weight supported by only a human tongue? And I have 4 answers, sorry.
Good, because I can't guess.
Okay. Was it A, 10 pounds? Oh, and by the way, I'm rounding up. Okay, so A, 10 pounds, B, 17 pounds, C, 29 pounds, or D, 48 pounds?
So are we talking about like a person's like meh,
Yep.
and like literally just like holding a weight on their tongue?
From everything I've looked up, people put a hook through their tongue and like have weights on this string or wire or whatever. But people have both been like competing to try and get more and more and more. I don't know if they're all doing that, but it's something that's hanging from their tongue and it's not supported by like their arm, you know, it's just dangling from their tongue.
And so
the amount of
do they
weight.
curl up and kind of lift it a little bit?
Ooh, I don't know. What, does that affect your answer?
Well, I don't know. So it was 10.
They don't have to curl it if that's what you're asking.
Okay,
They're like, okay, huh, huh. They don't have to do that. They just have to have it on there.
that'd be cool. Give me the numbers again real quick. 10.
10, 17, 29, 48.
I'll go 17.
And you are incorrect. It is C, 29 pounds.
Jeez.
I also rounded up. The heaviest weight lifted with the tongue is 28 pounds, 10.5 ounces. I just said 29.
Might as well.
And it was achieved by Thomas Blackthorne of the UK. It was on the set of a show, actually, Lo Show de Record in Milan, Italy on the 22nd of February of 2022.
Oh, very recent.
Yes, which the whole reason I even found this was I just wanted to do something cool about world records. The first article I found about how much weight you can hold on a tongue was somebody from back in 2004. And I was like, oh, wow, that's really impressive, whatever. But I was like, I'm going to just Google that specific world record and see if anyone's beaten that. And I just want to stay current. And when I found this one, I was like, oh, shit.
Damn.
This is like very, very recent. And someone had beaten it. So I'm glad I looked that up. I did see a picture of the guy that had the record in 2004 and he had a hook. I haven't found a picture yet of this guy, but can you imagine holding 29 pounds with just your tongue?
No. That reminds me of the most recent Saw movie.
Oh.
This guy was hanging in a subway tracks.
Okay.
He was like balancing on like this weird stick thing. He was hanging by his tongue. And so he had to jump off of the platform and rip his tongue out with his body weight, or he was going to get hit by a train.
What did he do?
He,
Spoiler alert.
yeah, I guess spoiler alert. He, at the very last second, decides to jump off. So after tearing his tongue, he still gets hit by the train.
Oh, damn.
Too much hesitation.
Whoo. What would you do? Lose the tongue? Is it worth it after that?
Oh, I'd be dead if I didn't.
I know. Oh, God. This is why I can't handle Saw movies. Oh, whoa. But yeah, so luckily this guy's tongue didn't fall out. So
Yeah, I don't know how.
I don't know how either. I'm going to try and find a picture of this guy or a video or something because I don't know how this works.
2022, he's probably got a TikTok where he shows tongue exercises to lead up to it or something.
Well, and it sounds like it was recorded on a show, so there's got to be some sort of video, right? I mean, so we're on to stories now.
Yeah, let's do some stories. So I've got a story from the news. None of this personal stuff like last week's long story about my neighbors.
I'm not going to lie. That one was really entertaining for me. I never know like what listeners get the best kick out from us, what their favorite things we do, but I giggled a lot.
For people who love true crime cases, that wasn't it, but
yeah,
you get what we do by now.
Yeah.
So mine is just about when things just don't go the way you want them to go.
Oh, happens a lot.
Sometimes with expectations, we just get a little disappointed.
It's better not to have any expectations sometimes.
So hopefully I haven't raised or lowered yours because the story is going to be great. It's just about a time that wasn't so great. So here we go. Have you ever had a bad day? I'm talking really bad. Like imagine you had a trip to Six Flags planned and then it started raining. Frogs. Okay, so maybe not bad on a biblical scale, but we've all had some bad days. Days where absolutely nothing goes to plan, and you just feel like giving up. Maybe you are running late for work, only to step outside and see that your car has a flat tire. Or you finally got the courage to make the colonoscopy appointment you've been putting off, only for your doctor to find your missing hairbrush. How did that get in there? The thing about bad days is that you constantly feel defeated. Nothing goes right, and if anyone is there to witness it, you probably feel embarrassed. No matter how much planning you seem to do, fate has a funny little way of showing up and pulling your pants down. One of the worst days I had happened when I was 18. I had terribly bad driving anxiety, and I had to go to a job interview in a place that was way out of my comfort zone. At the time, I drove a car that had something wrong with it that no one seemed to be able to fix. Anytime I would come to a stop, I would either hold the brake down or put it in neutral and continuously rev the engine. If not, the engine would die, and if it did, I had a 50-50 chance that I would start it back up.
Come on.
I was the last interview at that place before they closed, and I was already running late due to an engine mishap at a stoplight earlier. The driving anxiety was creeping up in the new place, only for me to show up and find that they had closed. No! I was too late for my job interview, and even if they were open, I'm sure being late didn't look good on me being hired. I sat in the car and cried before making the drive back home. To make matters worse, I found out later that job was just one of those knife-selling MLMs. So I just felt stupid and embarrassed for crying over a knife-selling scam. Today's dramatic account will put you right in the middle of a well-documented bad day. So be thankful that this story isn't about you or any bad days you've had, because having your bad day read by me would make it that much more embarrassing. Peter and Dwayne were two buddies living in a small town outside of Brisbane, Australia. Through the lifespan of their friendship, the two bonded over their mutual love for breaking rules and taking shortcuts in life. The only bad thing about it all is, well, the two weren't very good at most of the things they did. They would steal video game systems from kids in the neighborhood, but would fail to find the right input on their TV.
Try channel 3.
Leading them to think the games didn't work.
This is the 4th one this week.
They would sell their stolen goods to buy IKEA furniture that never came out looking like the picture. And they would often try to blackmail their friends from their personal phones, without first hiding their numbers.
I know it's you, Peter.
So maybe they were just stupid. The boys were tired of being down on their luck. Even with the whole Brisbane metropolitan at their disposal, no attempted robbery or scam really proved to be very fruitful.
Okay, mate, let's look at this list and see which crime we will pull off this week,
Peter said, while looking at a giant dry erase board of felonies. Dwayne slowly scanned the list and thought about the possibilities. There were so many that sounded good. Auto theft, extortion, door-to-door book salesman. Eventually, they would get all of them. But Dwayne's mood called for something a bit more exciting.
That one,
Dwayne yelled, while pointing at the top of the third column.
Ah, jewelry heist. That's a good choice, my felonious friend,
Peter said in a very complimentary tone. When putting the jewelry heist suggestion on the big board of crimes, Peter already had the best target in mind. Just outside of town, in a local strip mall, sat Wright's Jewelers. Wright's already seemed like the epitome of high class to Peter. As a regular Joe, he was always too intimidated to enter. But as a petty criminal, he felt right at home, breaking in. Together, the two packed all of the essentials for breaking in. Spark plugs. That was it. Besides masks to hide their identity, the two felt that all they would need is a big bag full of spark plugs. After closing time at Wright's, the criminal crew pulled up to the store front and got out. With each one of them holding a spark plug, Peter decided to make a commencement speech.
It's been a privilege planning this robbery with you, mate. After we break this glass, all of our dreams will come true.
As Peter slowly began to count down from 3, the two reared back their arms and launched the spark plugs into the front window of the jewelry store. Both of the spark plugs bounced directly off of the glass, landing pathetically on the sidewalk below.
Gee, I thought that was going to work, boss,
Dwayne said, confused. Confident in the ability of his spark plugs, Peter handed Dwayne another spark plug as they launched them into the large window again. Nothing. It was almost as if the window's glass was getting stronger by absorbing the hits from the spark plugs.
Save your strength, comrade. It's time for Plan B,
Peter said, throwing the bag of spark plugs back in the car. The two jumped back in their vehicle and pulled around back. It was a bit of a longer drive around all of the shops, as this was a strip mall, but the two felt that this was the better choice. Breaking into the back door seemed to be a more private place to break in anyway. Plan B would take a bit more than spark plugs to complete, however. In the back of Peter's car was his very trusted Lucky Iron Bar. With a few whacks, Peter was able to pop the door wide open.
"This is it!" Peter exclaimed. "Prepare to cover yourself in diamonds."
Dwayne was already daydreaming of wearing nothing but a diamond G-string. As the two walked into the dark back office, they began to feel a little confused. For a jewelry store, the employee area sure was a dump. Dusty old clothes, bins of worn shoes, and parts of disassembled beds lined the walls.
"They must take some weird trade-ins for diamonds,"
Peter whispered to Dwayne. The two continued walking to the front of the store. As they opened the door, both of their mouths dropped. There were no diamonds, brooches, or rings in sight. There didn't even seem to be any of those jelly bracelets from the early 2000s. Not one thing seemed of much value. They were in a thrift store.
"Ooh, I love this place," Dwayne yelled. "This is where I get all my used underwear."
Realizing his miscalculation, Peter smacked himself in the face. This wasn't Wright's Jewelers. This was the Animal Welfare League Opportunity Shop thrift store next door. Although Peter did feel slightly defeated, he decided to remain optimistic for the opportunity that had presented itself. Peter snatched up the charity donations box, pulled Dwayne away from the used undies section, and exited through the back door that they had recently broke into. Sitting back in the car, Peter broke into the donations box and began counting the money.
$50? People are so rude to those seeking charity,
Peter yelled.
It's time for Plan C. Yeah, I guess since we know where the thrift store is, we can just go to the next door over and break into the jewelry store, eh?
Asked Dwayne.
No, you fool, shouted Peter. That's too obvious. And knowing our luck, something will go wrong there too. It's time to do the Shawshank Redemption.
Dwayne gasped in fear. Besides being a Best Picture nominee in the 67th Annual Academy Awards, The Shawshank Redemption was a trick that Peter and Dwayne had always dreamed of. Taking a cue from Tim Robbins' character, Andy, the two always kept the strategy of tunneling in or out of a situation in their back pocket. Peter went into motivational mode.
This is the heist that will change everything for us, Dwayne. We have to be willing to do something we've never done if we want to achieve something we've never had.
Dwayne was properly motivated. He surrendered all control and decided to follow Peter on this most epic movie-inspired crime. The plan was simple. In the middle of the strip mall was a little hallway that led to 2 public restrooms. All they had to do was set up their excavation site in one of the men's room stalls and then tunnel through the wall into the sweet, sweet jewelry. The two took Peter's special iron bar and went into the men's room.
On the other side of this wall is our happily ever after. Now let's get rich,
yelled Peter. Dwayne began to whack into the wall. Bathroom tile fell onto the floor as chunks of drywall soon followed. Hit after hit, more of the wall would cave in.
That's it, my boy, that's it,
Peter shouted. They were finally going to succeed, and by taking a cue from their favorite Stephen King adaptation, no less. Dust particles filled the bathroom as Dwayne stood panting and sweaty. The drywall dust had mixed with his sweat, leaving him dirt-covered and filthy.
Do you smell the sweet smell of success, my boy?
Peter asked, taking a big dramatic inhale.
It smells like...
Chicken? Dwayne quickly interjected.
Actually it does smell a bit like chicken,
Peter responded.
Maybe success just smells like that for some people.
The two burrowed through the dust-filled hole in the wall, falling into the next room. Standing up, the dust began to settle, allowing them to see the room they were in. There, standing directly in front of them, was a teenage boy in an apron. Frozen in fear, the young boy dropped the ladle he was holding and ran out of the room. Peter and Dwayne picked up the iron bar and chased after him.
You come back here!
Throwing open the door, they found themselves in the most unexpected of places. Both of the men's faces were smacked with the thick aroma of greasy food. All they could see was white tabletops, silver industrial kitchen appliances, and chicken. So much chicken. Still in shock, the two started to notice even more about this place. There was a handful of white apron-clad employees staring at them. On those white aprons were 3 of the most recognizable letters they've ever seen. KFC.
Okay, fuck this.
Peter yelled as he pointed his crowbar as if it were King Arthur's sword.
Give me all your money and nobody gets hurt.
Dwayne took the money from the employees as Peter stood threateningly holding his weapon. Once the workers were thoroughly robbed, they exited back through their hole in the wall and ran out of there. On New Year's Eve of 2012, Peter Welsh and Dwayne Doolan attempted the worst jewelry heist in Australian history. The 2 robbers failed to break the front glass with spark plugs, leading them to go to the back door. Confused with the layout of the strip mall, the 2 men ended up breaking into the Animal Welfare League Opportunity Shop next door. Making the best of a bad situation, they stole a charity box that had $50. Instead of just moving over to the next back door, they decided to tunnel through a wall from a public restroom. Showing just how badly they did not know directions within the strip mall, they ended up tunneling directly into a surrounding KFC restaurant. Ever the optimist, Peter decided to hold up all of the employees, leading them to make around $2,600 in stolen cash. Later that week, the police raided Peter's home and arrested both men for armed robbery and stealing, while Peter also got burglary and attempted burglary charges. There was no information on what gave the men away, but judging by how the whole caper went, I can't imagine they didn't leave some kind of clue as to who they were. I feel like we've really been on a journey together during this one. Like going on a long road trip with someone you don't know all that well. You really come out of it with an experience you've shared together. Let Peter and Dwayne's story be there anytime that you feel your day just isn't up to par. When something feels impossible, or you just keep screwing up, know that Peter and Dwayne screwed it up much worse than you ever could. So in closing, I will do the very cliche thing of ending the story with the lyrics of the great Daniel Powter. 'Cause you had a bad day. You're taking one down. You sing a sad song just to turn it around. You say you don't know. You tell me don't lie. You work at a smile and you go for a ride. You had a bad day.
Okay, I'm not an expert on spark plugs, but I feel like that would not be my weapon of choice or my tool of choice.
Or why you would have so many?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Like, were they mechanics or something?
Maybe.
It didn't say?
Didn't say.
And also, the fact that they could have just simply gone next door, but they're like, no, we're going to make a tunnel through a wall.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's almost like instead of just tweaking your original plan, they're like, no, we need to just completely throw that out and go with a completely different idea here.
Yeah. Okay, guys, give up the spark plug theory, okay?
Yeah.
Clearly, the lead bar, was it that you said?
Yeah, it was like a crowbar. Yeah.
Clearly, that worked on the one door, so why wouldn't it just work on the other one?
Yeah, or why didn't you use the crowbar on the front glass?
Yeah. Oh my God.
I just couldn't believe, like I knew this was going to be kind of a hard, weird story to do because it had 3 big pieces to it, but
yeah,
it really is just like, how did you guys do all of this in one day?
I know. And like no one either saw them throwing the spark plugs. I mean, clearly it was during business hours, right? Because KFC was open.
I think KFC was open later than the jeweler.
Okay.
So it was probably, I would guess, around like, like the 6 o'clock time, but it was still where a KFC would be open, like probably between 6 and 9 or something.
Yeah. And nobody was apparently going into the strip mall bathroom, right? Because maybe they thought it was construction workers in there. I don't know. But like, that couldn't have been quiet.
No.
And can you imagine being that KFC worker just trying to cook up some good country fried chicken and then seeing a man come through the wall behind you?
Yeah. Like, I don't even know how you react to that. Like, this is bizarre. I probably wouldn't even know to run at that point. I would be just as weirded out.
Yeah, I genuinely have no idea how I would react to that. That is so freaking bizarre. That's like the least expected thing you could possibly think of would happen at a KFC.
Yeah, you could have done the exact same thing by using the front door if you were just going to rob KFC workers.
That's what I was thinking too. If all this amounted to, which obviously they didn't intend for it to, but yeah, they could have walked in the open door to KFC and gotten the same amount of money, and they wouldn't have had to dig any tunnels. No tunnels required.
Yeah, it is so bizarre and so weird.
Jeez. And I also must add to our listeners that, I was just dying with your voices.
I'm so glad I know how to edit well, because this was one of the most painful readings I have ever given in my life.
Well, and Australian accents, I feel like, are kind of tricky for both of us.
Yeah.
Usually our go-to is like the New Jersey man, you know?
Yeah.
But like Australians, God love ya. I love your accents. They're just very hard for us to achieve correctly.
Yeah, I wrote this one many a week ago.
Yeah.
And I put a lot more speaking parts into it than I had meant to. But I had told myself, I was like, this will be really funny when it happens. But that was supposed to be the one I did before vacation.
Okay.
But then I got inspired by my neighbors and I did that story.
Yeah.
So I wrote it and then let my brain forget about it for like 2 weeks. And then I had to pick it up and go, oh, what have I done?
It cracked me up. I'm sure the listeners will also LOL a tad, at least. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm just going to look like a fool.
Oh, no. I think it's beautiful. I think you did a great job. And yay for editing skills, so they'll never know. But man, Australian accents are tough.
Mm-hmm.
And what year did you say? It was kind of back.
2012.
2012, that's what you said. Yes.
Yeah.
Dang. I'm just picturing 2012. Wasn't that the year that people were like, oh, the world might end or something weird?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So
that John Cusack movie came out.
Yeah.
2012.
They're just like, let's just dig some tunnels.
Yeah, let's do the longest way around trying to rob somebody.
I was trying to make that tie in somehow. It doesn't. I don't know why I'm making excuses for these jackasses.
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh, God. There was a tiny little thing that ours had in common. I'm wondering if you can find a better one, though.
Okay.
So, I also have a story from the news. And as I was telling Trevin earlier, I stumbled upon a theme that my dreadful dilemma, my trivia, and my story all have in common. I'm not going to explain it because I think it'll be very apparent once I begin. So here we go. Teeth. They are something that the majority of us have inside of our mouths. Some people are missing a few, while others may have too many. There are white ones, yellow ones, round ones, and sharp ones. There are teeth covered in aggressive braces, and others bedazzled with gold caps. Teeth can express our emotions and allow us to devour our food. They even earn us some extra cash from the tooth fairy as children, when jobs for people our age are scarce.
Thanks for the $1, home intruder.
I would argue that our teeth are one of the most important features attached to our faces. By the end of my story, I guarantee you will agree. The petty crime I will be telling you all may cause your jaw to drop open as you realize the importance of our teeth and where we place them. In June of 2014, a 38-year-old man named Justin Stansfield was living in West Yorkshire, England. Justin was a decent enough guy, just trying to live his authentic life.
I'ma be me.
The only issue with that were Justin's two main hobbies, heroin and burglaries. The general public always seemed to frown upon these pastimes of his, especially when the two hobbies combined.
Oh, God.
Even though Justin knew he was committing illegal acts, he just couldn't stop himself from getting high and stealing things. He tried taking hot yoga classes to distract himself, but the stench of incense and hot farts was too much for him to bear. Justin tried baking, sewing, and voice lessons. But no matter what new hobby he tried, he always went back to his thieving ways. Justin was no stranger to committing crimes at this point in time. His specialty was breaking into homes and stealing the coolest shit he could find.
A Princess Diana beanie baby? No way!
During one of his burglaries, Justin had entered a home with the owner asleep in their bed. Although Justin tried his best to remain calm and quiet, he had startled the elderly owner awake. This led to Justin being whacked repeatedly with a walking stick until he ran back out of the home and into police custody.
Anything but the stick!
His criminal record and reputation weren't the only things damaged along the way. As a young man in his 30s, Justin had also lost his teeth. Luckily for him, dentures exist, allowing him to continue to smile after each and every burglary that went smoothly.
Cheese.
It was a lovely summer day as Justin sat on a park bench. The only thing that would make this moment better would be an ice-cold beer, Justin thought to himself. After seconds of pondering what to do next, Justin found himself breaking into a stranger's unlocked garage. Once inside, he skipped excitedly towards the homeowner's garage refrigerator. Justin thought there would surely be an adult beverage inside the icebox, and he turned out to be correct.
Fuck yeah!
After downing multiple stolen beers from the garage refrigerator, Justin became curious about what treats may lie inside the freezer.
Now I want a snack.
Like a child discovering a treasure chest, Justin gasped with joy after opening the freezer doors. Inside the cold compartment was a fresh box of multicolored popsicles. Without hesitation, Justin took out his dentures and opened the frozen treats. The cool, flavored ice felt nice against his gums, causing Justin to feel vindicated for breaking in.
Fuck yeah!
Once he was good and full from the stolen beer and popsicles, Justin grabbed an additional crate of stolen beer and left the stranger's garage. Later that evening, Justin couldn't shake the feeling that he had forgotten something important today. He checked to make sure he was still wearing underwear and that all of his belongings remained in his pockets. But everything was accounted for. Everything, besides his dentures. When 58-year-old Stephen Pickles arrived at his home after being out for the day, he went into his garage to grab a cold beer. It didn't take Stephen long to notice that his beer and popsicles were missing before contacting the authorities in a frenzy.
My beer and popsicles are missing!
It seemed like this case would remain a mystery when days later, Stephen stumbled upon an important clue. Laying on his garage floor beside his refrigerator was a set of used and abandoned dentures. Using basic dental technology, the authorities were able to use the fake teeth to track down the beer and popsicle thief, matching them to Justin Stansfield as the owner. As Justin already had a record of other burglaries and drug use, the court had to take this into consideration. Justin admitted that his memories of the break-in were a bit hazy due to his intoxication from the stolen beer, but he was still sentenced to 16 months at Leeds Crown Court. I hope this tale has reminded you all of the importance of our teeth. After all, my teeth played an integral part in telling this very story today. So brush twice daily, stay out of the dental urgent care, and please, don't forget your dentures after committing a petty crime.
That guy's name was Stephen Pickles?
Yes.
That's fun.
Isn't that adorable?
Yeah, that's really cute. I guess he could be a Rugrats character.
I know. Yeah. He's related to Stu and Tommy and the whole gang. Dill.
Wow. That is something. Just
Yeah.
leaving your teeth around.
You know, you hear in the serious true crime shows where like dental records lead to discovering, people and figuring things out. But yeah, I never really thought about the same thing being done with dentures.
I wonder if that test is like expensive to run. Because whoever runs it is probably like, oh, what murder we saw in the day? And like, actually, this guy just left his dentures because he stole some beer. And the guy's like, come on, Marty. Do you realize how important my job is?
I know. He's like, are you kidding me right now? Popsicles and beer. But I will say this guy, he did have, everything I said about him being hit with a walking stick by somebody, the articles never said if it was male or female. So I just left that open to interpretation. But that was all true. He was like pretty much a serial breaking and entering burglary of homes. But he said that the reason he was doing it was to steal stuff to get money for heroin or whatever. But I feel like in people's garages, there's usually really valuable like tools or maybe even a car, all these things. And he just went for the beer and the popsicles. So for that particular day, I'm like, maybe he was just thirsty, like maybe he wanted a beer. I don't know. But that's what I went with because it didn't really say.
Yeah, he's a man who's really a slave to his vices.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I need my heroin. But right now, beer sounds good.
And a popsicle? Don't mind if I do.
Ooh, buddy. Like the kind that like cuts the inside of your mouth a little bit.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know much about dentures, but like, do you have to take them out when you eat cold things? Or was he just wanting the coldness against his gums? Or like, do you know anything about dentures really?
I don't know much, but from everything I've known, I'm pretty sure you can keep them in while you're eating.
Yeah. So I don't know what the point was. I just thought maybe it felt good against his weird gums.
It is weird, and it gave me a nice weird visual.
I know.
It could be, though. He's like, I'm not eating in front of anybody. Let's just really enjoy this thing.
Yeah, maybe. And also, can you picture this dude? He's like drunk as shit on this beer, and he's home, and he's like, something's off, And then he's just like, I have no teeth.
My face feels loose.
Ew. Ew. But yeah, it was just a really weird story that I found. I never considered someone being identified from their dentures,
Yeah, that's funny. I like that a lot.
And all my stuff obviously tied together. The dental urgent care, my weird tongue weight fact. All my stuff just had to do with mouths today. And I really didn't notice it until I was already like halfway through writing my story. And I was like, what in the hell? I don't know if I'm just hanging on to my dental emergency story that I just went through or what, but everything was mouth related.
Yeah, you got mouth on the brain.
I do. The only thing that I could really find about connecting our stories was we both talked about how people's jaws dropped open. Your guys' mouths dropped open when they realized that it wasn't a jewelry store. And I told the listeners that their jaws would drop after hearing the story. Obviously, they're both thieves that got caught, but that's like too predictable,
Yeah, they're both breaking and entering.
Yeah.
They're both breaking and entering stories. Yours, I will pick up two other tiny ones.
Okay.
Yours talked about wax with a cane, was it? Wax. I talked about whacking with the iron bar.
Oh, okay.
And then you said something about underwear, and then my guy really wanted to get his used underwear at the thrift store.
That's true. That part killed me. He's like, no, I'm going to go shopping and get some more used underwear, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of really weird, obscure connections, I guess. Make with that what you will, Trevin, with the episode title. I don't know. Or maybe something ridiculous we've said throughout. I know we have said a few things.
Spider boners.
Yeah, yes. Painful boners, my God. That is like the worst thing I've ever heard today.
And you've got kids.
I do, damn it. But yeah, that was just a really weird time to record an episode. I feel like it was a very fun one, though. I learned a lot.
Very fun, very loosey-goosey.
We still have vacation brain.
I have got vacation brain so bad.
But you know what, though? If you wouldn't have told me that, I would have never known. I really think you did totally fine.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So, kind of wanted to just give a quick shout out to if there are any new listeners, whether it be new podcast friends or actual just new podcast enthusiasts that we met at the True Crime Podcast Festival. Hi. And thank you so much for listening, because a lot of people that we met were very lovely. And I know we're, like we've said time and time again, not the traditional true crime, not even a traditional true crime comedy. I mean, really everything about our show is pretty different. So thanks for giving us a chance. And thanks for talking with us at the festival. And we can't wait to meet even more people in the future.
Yeah, it's only going up from here.
Yes. So remember, no matter the crime, big or small, in the end, we're all doomed.
Doomed and keeping our teeth in our mouth.
Keep them in there.
Ow.
Bye.
See ya.
Thanks for putting down your spark plug collection and listening to our show today.
And if you've got a strong tongue, give it a rest and work those fingers instead. Find us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Live, Laugh, Larceny.
And TikTok. And if you have a funny denture story, send it to us in our email. You can reach us at livelaughlarcenypodcast@gmail.com or reach out on any of our social media accounts.
And if you want to give a review for my Australian accent, give it to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Good Pods. Give us 5 stars, and then you can just say whatever you want.
Yeah, I guess since we know where the thrift store is, we can go to the next door.
Oh, my Christ. Oh, you're going to like this.
Yeah, I guess since we know where the thrift store is, we can just go next door. God damn it. Yeah, I guess since we know where the thrift store is, we can just go to the next door over and break into the jewelry store, eh?
That was for you.